Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Beauty Lifestyle Network. Also on Twitter at ShopBLN. And for some more information on some amazing products, visit our website at BeautyLifestyleNetwork.com.
Before we get going, I just want to let everybody know that if you're interested to one of the products, we're going to be featuring the full line of Eva, Eva Jane beauty products, her
Yes.
tools today. So if you want to learn more about those, you can go to our website at beautylifestylenetwork.com. We'll actually be releasing, she did a full show with us and
Yes.
the show in about a week. So stay tuned for that as well. And we'll keep if you go to our website and then subscribe to our newsletter. We'll let you know what's going on with the products. Okay. But
Awesome.
let's get into the first step, and we'll let you take it from here. After you do the first part, what we'll do is maybe take some questions if there's some questions for anyone. So get your
Okay.
questions ready, and we'll kind of take it step by step. So I'll turn it over to you, Eva.
All right. Well, we're going 1 through 5. So step 1 is going to deal with your eyebrows. Now, for me, I believe that the eyebrows kind of set the stage for the face. Those are where your expression is held. You know, if you're happy, if you're sad, if you're mad, if you're angry, if you're curious, if you're confused. So brows, I think, should send a clear message. So to clean them out is very important. And I know a lot of women, they'll say, well, my brows are sparse, so I don't know that it matters. I think younger women are like, it's trendy, all about brows right now. But sometimes when I talk to some women, they're like, oh, well, I don't even think it matters because my brows aren't that full anyway. And as we age, like for instance, my brows, I've kind of shaped them a certain way for a lot of my life. So they kind of have memorized that, so to speak. So as they thin out, they don't grow in certain places. So to actually tweeze those unwanted hairs that are in the way actually still help to make your brows stand out. So that's step 1. Do something, some type of grooming, whether it's just with a tweezer and getting some of the stray hairs that you may find, or if it's waxing, definitely cleaning out the stray hairs is important. So that's step 1. Definitely clean up the brows. Step 2 is going to be to fill the brows in. And I'm going to use a brow gel as I've used on this brow already. You can see I've already drawn this brow, and I did them a little different. Sometimes I get a wild hair and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make them longer, wider, fuller. And that can give you a different look, just depending on your mood. If you want to be more dramatic, you can choose a more dramatic color. Like for instance, some people think, oh, I can never use black on my brows. I actually used black, but I used it in such a way that I didn't just put a big black, like a Sharpie marker across my face. I did it with, this is my Eva Jane silicone detail angle brush. And the tip of this brush is so precise. It works with your cream and your gel products. I'm going to use, this is just a jar of gel brow cream. So what I did was I dipped a little bit. I'm using just a little, this is a makeup artist little tool. This is a palette knife so that I don't, dip my tools into there. I never, if it's your personal stash, then, go dip away. You can dip your brushes in. But for a makeup artist, we tend to use to keep sanitary. So I got a little bit of my brow gel. And what I'm going to do is I just wipe it along the edge of my brush. And then I'm going right underneath, and I'm drawing a very thin kind of guideline underneath this brow. And the shape is determined a lot by the tool itself. So it helps me to draw that straight line. And then going in, I just brush up. And I try to do it almost like little hair strokes because the end of this brush is so fine. It gives you such wonderful detail. So you can get a more natural look, or if you want to be more dramatic, you can go for a more dramatic look. But right now, all I'm doing, I've drawn kind of my bottom guideline, and then I just brush up. up and out. I love to see kind of the hairs because it almost makes it look like naturally I have these super full brows when really you saw how I started out. I really don't. So I'm just going to go in and fill in until, and I try to make the match up. I think one of the myths and where a lot of women struggle is trying to get each brow perfect. And you don't need to get them to perfectly match one another. The old adage is you want to make them look like sisters, not cousins, but sisters, not necessarily identical twins, but they should look like they're in the same family. So sometimes this is my harder side. I'm right-handed. So my left side is usually the most difficult for me to draw. So I started out there so that I know once I get over to this side, it's not going to be as difficult. So whatever your most difficult side is, you know, it might be helpful if you start with that side and then go to the side where you just don't have as much issue and then go for it. So right now I'm just filling in. I'm making small strokes and I'm letting the brush kind of do the work and I'm letting it guide me. And then up and out. And then once I get in here, sometimes I'll just, and if you need to wipe the tip of the brush off, I have a little paper towel over here. If you get too much product on it, because the one thing with the silicone brush, it's gonna put the product purely there. So you're not gonna get, it's gonna, like whatever you put on there. So if you get a little heavy handed, it's gonna put all of that product there. So you wanna make sure, and so you're not gonna waste a lot of product because you'll get like kind of a balance like, oh, okay, well, I don't need as much as I thought I was gonna need. So it's not absorbing any product and it's putting all of that product right there purely. So you're getting the pure color, which is great. All right, so I've got two brows. All right, I've got two brows. Now my brows, naturally, this one's higher than the other. It's like maybe this muscle is stronger. I don't know. I really don't sweat it. I've come to just accept I am who I am. So we are going to move on to step 3 now. Dior, you following along?
I'm following. I think I can instruct someone now, I think. So let me ask you, as people do this, what are some of the common mistakes, you know, as you think non-professionals make with their eyebrows?
I think it mainly has to do with tools and how heavy-handed or the shape, the particular shape that they're using. If you want to just kind of go into basic brow shape, we can talk a little bit about that. But brows, typically, the closer you have them together, the more, they say the more sinister you start to look. The more you kind of have them a little farther apart, it gives you a more innocent look. So think about the balance of that. But usually the corner of the nose to the corner of the eye, you don't want your eyebrow to start any farther in than that point. Typically, corner of nose, corner of the eye, then that's the inside corner. And then going this way, it's going to be corner of the nose, outside corner of the eye. That is a good stopping point. You can stop a little shy, but you don't want to draw them down like down here. So that is about your stopping point. And then when it comes to where your arch occurs, it's a little more challenging. You look straight ahead and it's about where your pupil is. So say the center of your eye, if you're looking straight ahead, your arch should be about right there. So you use the corner of your nose as, because everybody's going to have different kind of, I guess the way that they're going to look best, because my nose is shaped different from your nose, but everybody can use that as kind of a guide for how they draw. So I think the shape and where the arch occurs, I see a lot of women who put the arch like right here and it's just kind of there rather than kind of starting here and then going far enough out. I see a lot of that happening. You know, women who have over tweezed over their lives, and then, you know, you don't really have any natural guideline anymore, so it might make it a little more challenging. So I would say if you're young, less is more. You know, keep those thick brows as long as you possibly can. And then if you have somebody that's trusted that does your brows, you know, and they do a really good job, try to stay consistent, not let a lot of different people have their vision on your face, and kind of learn like where the strays are so you can kind of maintain them as long as you can. So yeah, those are some of the things that I see.
No, I do have a question real quick about
Sure.
maybe the thickness of the brow. Like you said, some people have, naturally thinner brow. Like how do you determine how thick you should create your brow?
It
If you don't
really
have much brow.
Yeah, it really is a personal preference. I mean, but I think there's a balance in if you want a totally drawn face, and that might be the look that you like, a totally drawn face. But I can remember meeting a lady one time and her brows were drawn so wide, like I was having an inner battle trying to just concentrate on her eyes and what she was saying and not like being so obvious that all I'm staring at is like your eyebrows, because they are so unnaturally thick. Like, and they weren't like hair, it was she'd drawn them so thick and so wide. So I think if you kind of you can look at magazines, you can look at TV, you can look at news people, you can look at people who regularly have their makeup professionally done, and see like what kind of style, is for the times, because things change. I mean, you can look at makeup from say the 20s and the flappers and all of that, and they had a different type of makeup look. And then you can see maybe older women who are frozen in time from when, they drew their brows a certain way and it hasn't changed. So yeah, it is a little bit of personal preference, and I say mix it with really, current culture. And I think you can find a nice balance. Okay.
So I guess to that question, and then that's the last point I make about this. And for those questions, please put those questions in our Q&A box. We'll be glad to answer questions they have. But my question right now is, gosh, I think I talked so much, somebody forgot what I was going to say. Don't worry about it. We'll come back to it later.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
And then hi, Sean. I like just like, oh, a chat. Yeah, let me just say that. Hi. Okay, so next I'm going to move on to step number 3, which is, okay, this is one of those steps to where people, to me, sometimes have taken it to the extreme, but I think that it can be very complimentary if done. I'm always kind of careful to say in moderation, because really makeup really is about personal style. I met a woman one time and she was just like, I want my eyeliner to come all the way up here. I want to go to work and I want them to think I just came off a Broadway stage. And it's just like, yes, life is a stage, huh? And it's just like, I don't down anybody who likes extreme makeup. I'm not into makeup shaming, but I can say sometimes I see outlined eyebrows that get distracting to the point where it's like, did you learn the technique, like what it was for, or did you just execute something and just say, oh, well, this is what I think they're doing, but not really know the why behind it. So I'm getting a little bit of concealer on this same brush. This is my silicone detail angle brush. Now this brush cleans up so simply. So you can go from using a black brow liner to this light creamy concealer just like that, just cleaning the brush off. So what I'm doing, I'm putting a little bit of concealer on one side and I'm just dragging this right underneath this brow. And now there are people, and there are times that people will outline this whole brow, and it can serve a purpose, but to me, it just needs to be executed well to not be distracting, where you're just looking at, okay, you have a line around your eyebrows. You tried really hard to define them. So here's what I'm going to do next. I'm introducing another product. This is the makeup bullet that Diora was talking about earlier. This is my baby. This is my signature product. This is my patented sponge that I created, the first ever sponge to fit snugly on a finger. And it came out of just a need for me to be able to have that convenience and be able to move quick and multitask. So as you can see, I can hold this right here. I've got my little line, and now I'm just taking the tip of my makeup bullet and I'm gonna blend this line down into my skin. And what it does is it gives even further definition to my brows. Now, you don't necessarily need to use a concealer this light. I'm basically doing it for effect so you can kind of like really see what's happened. But over here, how this is kind of settled in a little more, you can see it was the same color. That's what I did a little earlier. And given any little bit of time, my skin will eat up all the makeup I put on it because it just, I'm an oily, I tend to generate lots of oil and absorb the makeup. So this will eventually look exactly like the other side. But yeah, I'm just taking the tip and blending it down, and it gives a little bit more of this highlight to my brow bone. And then bam, my brows are like popping. Okay. So that's just a technique. Now you can use this instead of, in lieu of eyeshadow, if you wanted to, instead of using like a highlight shadow. You don't necessarily have to do that. You could just highlight your brows a little bit. Like right now, I have on no eyeshadow. I just have on face powder as my base. That's all I have on. I didn't even put on any blush. I wanted to show that these techniques can just accentuate the eyes. All right. So I'm moving along. Dior, you gonna stop me?
Yeah, so I think I remember what my question was. Like, now you were talking about, having eyes that kind of match the current trends. Like, what is the current trends for eyes right now? Like, what is kind of like the go-to look for people in, I guess, even in the industry and in general?
You know, a lot of people are into, to me, a lot of shadows tend to be in, a lot of color. I have never been one for trends per se. I'm getting a little older, so I kind of leave that to the younger generation to say, oh, I want to mix red and green and blue and do the cut crease and have the, maybe one eyeliner color on the top, another on the bottom, and, use the most full lashes that I possibly can to top it all off and have just the most precise brows I can ever get. So, I mean, I think it has its place because it's almost like when I look back at the pictures of my mother from high school and the makeup looks extreme, but that was like the trend, but it's beautiful. It's just like, wow, that's how they did it back then, but it's beautiful and extreme. So, I mean, but I think every time, especially young people and looking at what they're doing, and I really think that the whole mask thing is going to end up shaping a lot of what we do. And there's going to be even more focus on, going more extreme and drawing more attention with eyes. Like, who knew, like, young women, it's nothing for them to be wearing lashes, false strips, and a wig. Like, wigs were not a thing when I was in high school. But now when I go to like see my son's classmates, you got young girls who have beautiful full heads of hair, but still as a protective style, they're wearing wigs. And I think the embrace of beauty, and everybody's a makeup artist and everybody knows how to highlight and contour and all of that, or at least they're trying, I think is great. So as far as trends, I think trying really hard is a trend right now. And I don't say that in a negative way. I'm not hating on it, but I do think that sometimes there gets to be kind of a cookie cutter look that people kind of look at, say, social media, and they'll think, ooh, that looks cool, and I'm gonna, try it out. And, we're all guinea pigs of our own selves right now. So yeah, that's what I would say as far as like what's a trend right now. I think doing things to the extreme is kind of a trend, which I'm not going to hate on, because like I said, you'll look back on those pictures and you'd be like, man, that's when I was, So I'm not a trendy, but I think that I do it in such a way that if you wanted to take it to another level and let it be more extreme, you can do that. As I said, you will see a lot of younger artists especially that will do what I just did on the top too, and almost like outline. Another trend that I don't love is almost the ombre brows, where they basically like just kind of fade into oblivion as they go this way. I prefer doing, the kind of hair strokes because I prefer a more natural look. So the trend of just kind of the ombre brow look is not necessarily my favorite, but you know, I look at young women and I'm just like, wow, you know, like it's artistic though. That's the thing. It's so artistic, but I don't want to be a Picasso necessarily. So, you know.
So you're doing looks that, you know, are a little more subtle, a little more natural, because your background is in television, so they're trying to do a more natural, approachable look as well, right?
Yeah, we used to call that urban makeup. Like, don't bring the urban makeup on set. So, but I mean, that's what the streets are saying. So it's just like kind of a balance. You want to have a balance of the two. Because I used to not do so much of the underline with the concealer and the bright, but it does have its place. And I think it does really add dimension to the eyes. And especially now, when we are online and everything is a bit dulled down, especially depending on the camera you're using, you might not have a really great camera and you might need to do a little more to look good. Like, okay, can I show an example of that real quick?
Sure.
Like, for instance, okay, so for instance, I'm gonna show you, because I'm using an external camera, but if I were using the camera on my laptop, which is not as good, then this is what I would look like. All right, here we go. So there's that.
Wow.
So you see why I would like need all this. If my camera is like washing me out and pixelating me and making me look as fuzzy as this, I need a little more help. Okay, we're done with that experience. I'm gonna go back to the good camera. So yeah.
That's a huge difference. So let's go to the next step.
Next, step 4 is eyeliner. And, you know, eyeliner, I don't know if it needs much explanation, but as I've said before, it's all about contrast. So again, I'm going to use my silicone brush for my eyeliner, and I have a cream liner. I love cream and gel liners. I really, really do. And very simply, I'll just put it on both sides of the brush because I tend to go from center out and then inside out and outside in. I don't know how to, and then for so I use both sides of the brush when I'm drawing my eyeliner. And again, this is just adding more contrast, adding dimension, okay? And then I love wings. I'm gonna keep my wings. I don't care if wings like go out of style. I'm gonna be that old lady with the wings and y'all gonna be talking about me like, why is she still doing that? We don't do that anymore. I don't know, I just love them.
So what are some other ways people do their eyeliner? You said you like to do the wings. What are some other kind of eyeliner?
I mean, you could just end it. You could just end it and not do your little swoop up. Some people will do even like a down, but I really prefer lifting the eyes. You know, gravity is going to work against you all your life. So I like to do things that are lifting and edifying. So I've always liked a wing because it just adds an extra little bit of brilliance to me. I don't know. It's like a little flair. So yeah, so I always do wings. I didn't, like my husband was watching me one time do my makeup and he was like, why do you always do that? And I thought about it. I was like, I don't know, why do I always do that? So the next day I did my makeup and I didn't do it. And I was like, yeah, that's why I always do that, because I don't like the way this looks. It opens up the eyes a little more to me. So that's why.
For women who don't use a lot of makeup and maybe eyeliner and not used to having, you know, tools that close to their eyes, any tips for them to kind of like get over that, or kind of what they should be thinking about as they draw that line?
People who have scary eyes. I mean, for one, your eye is closed. Don't close it too tight. I've had that, you know, women, it's just like, you know, they're closing their eye too tight. And of course you create like little wrinkles and stuff. I do not advocate pulling on the eye. I see a lot of women who do that. It makes me cringe because the eye muscles are very, very delicate, and you don't want to do a bunch of tugging, but I still see women who do that old school. They'll pull their eyelid and then draw that way. I say, use your pinky. Rest your pinky, close your eye very, very gently, and then just draw. And use this as a way to balance yourself. And then don't come at yourself straight on, because you're not going to have as much control. Lay your brush to the side. And like I said, this brush will do all the work, and it's not going to collapse on you because it is silicone. So it's going to like do the work for you. It's going to keep its shape. It's not going to fray. Like, you know, when your toothbrush gets old and it starts doing that, lots of times angle brushes with fibers or hair made of natural hair or even synthetic will start to fray and they lose their shape. This is not going to do that. So I say, lay here, you go sideways. You're not going straight on, you're going sideways so that you can just follow your lash line, just all the way across. Follow your lash line and stay close to your lash line. And then if you need to go bigger, if you're like, get it too narrow, you can go wider. If you go too wide and then try to bring it in, then you're going to have a mess. So try to stay as close to your lash line. And maybe even if you don't want a very dramatic look, all you're doing is really maybe just filling in your lash line just ever so slightly, and it makes a huge difference as far as, especially if you have fair skin, to be able to create more of a separation between the white of your eye and your skin tone, to be able to give a little more contrast, is going to open up your eye area even more. Okay, does that help you know how to do your eyeliner now?
Since you mentioned how it would help for someone with fair skin, how does that work for someone with maybe a darker tone?
Well, I mean, when you're darker, you're going to have naturally a whole lot more contrast, but you're going to have to look at, like, you know, black, for instance, is going to maybe be your go-to, or just go for an amazing pop of color, like an electric blue that would look brilliant against your skin. Or even, you know, I mean, you know, fashion shoots and stuff, you'll see people use colors like yellow or bright orange or whatever. In real life, that might look pretty amazing if you have on, say, a yellow dress and you do like an orange line and you've got this beautiful black ebony skin. I mean, you are going to be like turning heads. So I think have fun with eyeliner. I love colored eyeliners, especially you can find some brilliant blues and greens. I mean, those are pretty much, and purples. They look amazing. And it just looks like, I mean, makeup just looks like you tried, you know? And I think when we're all kind of like sequestered in our homes, it helps boost your spirits a little bit when you try a little. And especially if somebody notices and you're online and you did your little purple line and you're sitting there in your meeting and somebody's like, ooh, that eyeliner's pretty. And it's just like, really? So I think it's one of those things where just you can experiment with makeup and have some fun with it. And I think that's the beauty of it. But yeah, I mean, I think I tend to get into ruts, but actually I just bought this lipstick. This is my first time wearing this little lippy. It's not an expensive lippy. I got it from the drugstore because I was like, I'm running out of my pinks and I love pink. And I was like, let me just try this. And I'm like, wow, I really like it. I like the way it looks on camera. This is my first time seeing it. And it makes me feel a little more confident. So I think when you go outside and get a new color or do a new little something, especially our next step, which is going to be lashes. And there's so many women. I had one of my girlfriends today, right before this, send me a text and said, hey, Eva, I got some lashes, and she wears glasses. So that was her concern, was they're going to be too long and rub up against. So she was like, I got some. She's like, they're still hitting a little bit, but they're so pretty. And now I need your eyelash safe. So I was like, yeah, of course, that's what you need now. So next step, can we move on to step 5, Dior?
Please.
Ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay. So next step is lashes. If you want to do mascara, mascara is great. Or this is, okay, so one is gone because it's on my eye, but on my show on Beauty Lifestyle Network, I am talking about my new lash line, and they're named after 3 wonderful women, these lashes in my life that I adore. So we have Tawana, which is a wonderful everyday lash. We have Daria, which is has a little more flair, a little more length to it, a little more drama. And then we've got Nicoletta, which is a fuller lash. It's a little shorter than Daria, but it's the one that I have on right now. And I think it's a great lash. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it out of my, this is the Eva Jane Eyelash Safe. So it's a safe space to store your eyelashes so that you can preserve them, because lashes cost money when they're not on your eyes. So I've got my lash, and then this is wonderful and amazing. This is the Eva Jane eyeliner glue. Now this can substitute for that eyeliner step if you wanted it to, and it doubles as an eyelash glue adhesive. And it's a quick thing, and it's precise. So you put it directly on your lash line, right here, right above that lash line, and go right across. You shake it up a little bit and then just go right across, and then you apply your strip lash. And it's a black, so it's going to blend right into the lash line. And then I've got this little applicator, which you will get to in the kit. And you just lay it right on top there. Get the little corner down. Yeah. I don't know why my child is making all that noise. If y'all hear that, hope you don't hear it. And then there, I've got on 2 lashes, and now I'm even, finally. So it's wonderful, because if you need to like lift up and adjust, you can do that, but it's not messy to where sometimes if you have, say, a squeeze tube or a little brush that you're using to put your eyelashes on, you're trying to apply it directly to the lash evenly, you get globs, and then you like go too high, and then you got a black mark right here. This prevents all of that, because you have the precision of just using it like an eyeliner, and then using that tool just to blop, blop, blop. So those are my steps for Poppin' Eyes, 5 steps. So let's recap. We started out 1, go ahead and make sure that you're maintaining your own natural eyebrows, whether they're sparse or not. You want to make sure that you're shaping them some type of way to get out all the stray hairs so that they can stand out on their own. Secondly, you're going to fill those brows in and give them a little more dimension, give them a little more contrast by using, say, a gel or a pencil, or even a dark eye shadow you can use with the brush. Okay, so next we took my silicone detail angle brush with a little bit of concealer, and we just traced right underneath that eyebrow just to give it a little more pop, and then blended that out with the makeup bullet. And then next, step 4, is we used a little bit of eyeliner just to draw right across there. Now you could either use your own, liner, cream liner, or you could use the eyeliner glue that doubles as an eyeliner and an adhesive for your strip lashes that you would then, when you're done wearing, store in your Eva Jane Eyelash Safe space to keep your lashes.
Well, I have a quick question. How long, how many times do you recommend, or how many uses could you get out of your eyelashes?
Oh, it really just depends on how you care for them. Truthfully, it really does. It depends on how you care for them. If you start to get, say, buildup of glue adhesive on them, and you can gently kind of clean that off. You can use a little bit of, you can use olive oil. If you use something a little more harsh like alcohol to get it off, then you got to be really, really gentle, because you might start pulling them apart. But over time, they're gonna fall apart over time. But typically, it's not unheard of that you could get 5 uses out of a strip of lashes, maybe. Something like that. Maybe you can go the distance, but even more. But I usually will keep a pair of lashes, maybe 3, reuse them, maybe 3 to 5 would be about the most for me. Usually before I'm just like, okay, I don't want to clean all this off anymore. I just need to get another pair. Yeah.
All right. So I love the look. If you're, like you said,
Yeah.
it's a nice, clean, natural look. And
Mm-hmm.
and it does, the eyes look great.
Thank you.
So
That's
now
what
I'm gonna look at women differently when I see them with the, especially when I'm looking at their eyebrows. I'm like, man, you should have put that stuff around the top.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just kidding.
It's like I said, different strokes for different folks.
Right. Okay. Well, there you have it. We have the Eva Jane Beauty's eye regimen here. She has some 5 great tips for us. I don't think we have any additional questions. I appreciate Sean has some comments. He loved the fact that you turn the camera on and off so you can see the difference and how that affects your makeup. So this basically, we wanted to make sure women had a kind of a basic idea of how to do their beauty routine when it comes to their eyes. So if you have some upcoming events online, or maybe you starting to get out a little bit and you're wearing, now people, all they see is your eyes. These are some great tips to kind of keep that going. Any final words before you go? One more thing. So again, make sure you check out Beauty Lifestyle Network. We're going to be featuring the products that Eva just mentioned. We're going to be featuring the makeup bullet, featuring the silicone angle brush, the eyelash safe, and the 3 sets of eyelashes. We're going to do it as a whole bundle starting next week. So make sure you go to Beauty Lifestyle Network, check it out. We'll give you a great deal on it. We'll have some more tips on it that you can check out in the show. And we've been very happy with Eva and her products, and I'm sure you will be as well. Any final things you want to say, Eva, before we kind of wrap this up today?
I don't know who my dog's trying to attack right now because he is going crazy in the background. You know, I say everybody kind of extend yourself grace because we recognize that we were thrown into something and we're not all, you know, up to speed and used to everything. So give yourself some grace, practice when you can, but yeah, don't worry the stress and watch this video over and do it with me next time. And yeah, blessings to you. Thank you so much for having me, Dior. I'm really so excited to be a part of Beauty Lifestyle Network and sharing the beauty love and wisdom and knowledge.
That's right. We're here to kind of help you become the best version of yourself. So make sure you check us out. As Eva mentioned, we will have a replay of this online. So make sure you go to our different social medias. You can reach us at Beauty Lifestyle Network on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. You can reach us at ShopBLN. And of course, you can go to our website at beautylifestyle.com. We'll have information on there as well. So Eva, again, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon. Make sure you guys, go out there and practice. Have some fun with this stuff. Right now is the perfect time. You mess up, you don't have to go anywhere, right?
I know, right? All right. Blessings. Bye.
Thank you.